Hello fellow stackers, 365 here, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about fiat currency, and I'm going to be explaining to you the reasons why I don't think it's a great idea to keep this stuff in the bank. Now watch all the way to the end of the video to hear my reasoning behind this. Before we get into it though, I'm not a financial advisor, so always make your own investment decisions. Now fiat currency, cash, money, whatever you want to call this stuff, is slowly, and I say slowly, but actually I should be saying quickly, losing its purchasing power every single day, every single month, and every single year. And the reason this stuff is buying you less and less as the years go on is because they are printing more and more of it. Every time someone takes out a new mortgage or a new loan, they don't have to find the money in their bank vaults. They literally just put the numbers on the screen, the money goes into your bank, it goes over to your lender if you're buying a house, and there's more money added to the circulation. So when you continue to add more and more fiat currency into the circulation, all it does to the current fiat currency that is in circulation is it devalues it. It makes it so that this stuff buys you less and less. And you can see it if you have a look at how much your weekly food shop for your family cost last year. You'll see that it's a huge increase in how much of this stuff it takes to do your regular weekly shop. Not only are things getting more and more expensive to buy, you're actually getting less for your money. If you're buying just a small bag of crisps, for example, they used to be, say, 30 grams, then they went down to 25 grams, then 20 grams, the same with chocolate, the same with meat, fish, anything you're buying, you'll notice that not only are the prices increasing, also the amount you're getting is decreasing. So that, coupled with more and more of this currency being printed every single day, is really causing your purchasing power to dramatically decrease. Now, how do we go about combating this? Now, if you was to leave this money sitting in your bank, as I just said, it is getting more and more useless as the years go on. Whereas if you was to actually convert your fiat currency into an asset, something that is actually going up in value over time as opposed to losing value over time, that is how you combat it, and that is how you slowly grow your wealth and increase your overall investment portfolio, or for those of you that haven't started investing yet, how you start building up a portfolio. Now, for me personally, I like to convert my fiat currency into something physical. I like to pick up pieces of silver. Now, for every piece of silver that I pick up, you're essentially locking in the value of your fiat currency. So these coins here, for example, when I first picked these up a couple of years ago, they were £22 a coin to buy. Now, these sell for around about £35 to £37. If you was to buy them brand new with the VAT added, you're looking at around about £42. And that is only in a short couple of years. So if I was to do the same equivalent, and let's say the £22 that I spent on one of these silver coins, I was to leave as fiat currency in my bank, over the last 2 years, that £22, like I just explained, would buy me a lot less than it does now. Whereas this actually buys me a lot more. If I was to convert this piece of silver back into fiat currency, no longer do I have £22, I would now have, like I said, around about £35. So that is the way that the rich are getting richer, and that is why, if you don't understand the basics of investing, you're never going to be able to improve your financial situation, because the odds are against you. Every single year, your money in your bank is shrinking what it can actually purchase. And physical assets doesn't have to be silver. It could be gold. You could pick up some gold. You could invest in some property. You could invest in the stock market, an index fund, the S&P 500, for example, something that's consistently shown to increase in value over a long period of time. Whatever your chosen investment vehicle is, as long as you're removing your fiat currency from the bank and not just leaving it sitting in the bank, losing its purchasing power and putting it into something like this, you're going to see that over a longer period of time, you're actually going to be much better off. Now, Another thing to remember when you're buying physical assets such as precious metals like silver, like I'm showing you today, it's a lot harder to spend. When you're converting your fiat currency into something like this, you can't just go down the shops and buy a new t-shirt or buy a new PlayStation game or whatever it may be. You actually have to do a little bit more work. You actually have to find a buyer for this, convert it back into fiat currency, and then you can go and spend it. So by actually converting your fiat currency into a physical asset such as silver, you're actually making it a lot more difficult for you to actually go and impulse buy as well. And that is what I found when I first started getting into investing in precious metals. I found that it was the only asset that truly made me keep my money locked in it for longer. When I was investing in crypto and in the stock market, if ever I needed a little bit of cash, if I wanted to go out with the lads and have a few beers or a holiday, or maybe I wanted to buy a new car, whatever it may be, it's very easy on an app to just click sell. And then within an hour or so, or sometimes less, the money is back in your account and you can actually spend it. Whereas with this, you can't just click a button on a screen, you can't just press sell and have that fiat currency back straight away. So again, it just slows it down. It makes it a lot harder to be able to liquidate. So don't get me wrong, it is still very easy to liquidate the stuff if you need to, as and when, but it adds a little bit more of a slower process. It would probably take you, let's say, 24 hours to liquidate every bit of silver that you can see on the screen today. Whereas if you was on an investing app, you could literally liquidate within, say, 5 minutes and have it back in your bank similar time. So that is why, in my opinion, physical assets are the way to go. That is why, in my opinion, it is not sensible to keep money sitting in the bank. Don't get me wrong, it's always sensible to have a little bit of money sitting in the bank as a backup fund, an emergency fund. You don't want to put every single last penny into this stuff, because then when your boiler breaks or your car breaks down or your car needs some new tyres, or you do actually want to take your family out for a nice meal, then you haven't got money to hand. So you always want to have a little tiny bit sitting in the bank, but the majority of it you want to lock up into an asset that is slowly growing over time. Now, for those of you that are just starting out in stacking, I have actually put a guide together, especially for those in the UK. This is actually aimed for those in the UK. It's called How to Invest in Physical Silver in the UK. And this is a guide that I put together myself. It took me 3 to 4 days in total to do all the research and put it all together. You can actually pick one of these up in the description of today's video. I've made it as an ebook, so you don't have to buy it like I've done here as a physical copy. I literally just got it printed as a physical copy to be able to showcase on today's video, but I've made it as an ebook format. These are currently, I'm selling them for £10 because I put quite a lot of time and effort and knowledge into it. I've actually done a half price sale at the moment, so if you head down into today's description, they're 50% off. And I've also done a portfolio tracker, which I'm actually currently giving away for free. So I will leave a link, like I said, in today's video description. Here is the How to Invest in Physical Silver UK guide. Like I said, it's £5 instead of £10. And then the precious metals tracker that I made, it's an Excel doc, is currently £0. It's currently free. So just go into the link in the description, click on I want this. I think you have to type in your email address, and then it will give you the link to be able to download it. So those two pieces of resource will really help you, especially if you're just starting out, and especially if you live in the UK, because there's a lot of information out there for those that don't live in the UK, for those that live in the US and in different countries. But it's very different board game in the UK, especially with silver, where there's a VAT added. You have to bear that in mind, and you have to adjust where you're picking up your precious metals from. Now, I will just end today's video by showing you a bit of a graph, a bit of a visual to show what I was explaining at the beginning of today's video, because I think it's quite important sometimes to actually have a visual. And this just shows you very quickly the effects that printing money has on fiat currency. You can see the purchasing power dramatically decreases over time, as opposed to the silver. Over a long period of time, you have a couple of ups and downs, but along the way, the charts show us that over a long period of time, silver has continued to rise. So like I said, instead of following this chart here and having all your money in the bank and just losing purchasing power, why not go out today and buy your first piece of silver and then be able to actually enjoy what's happening on this chart where your price of silver is increasing and you're maintaining your purchasing power. So I hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much to everyone that's watched along. Please send this video on to anyone that you think will find it useful. This video will be especially helpful for those people that haven't yet turned any of their fiat currency into any investment, especially in this day and age when things are getting extremely difficult out there. It's very, very important that you look at your financial future and you start securing some of your hard-earned cash. Stop just going to work, working 9 to 5 and spending the excess after you paid your mortgage and your bills or your rent. Actually put some of this away every single month and try and better not just yours but your family's financial future. So like I said, thanks very much for watching. Really enjoyed filming today's video. Sometimes it's nice to go back to basics, especially for those people that are still sitting on the fence about investing. But as always, I hope you have a very nice day.